Hey friends, this is Sheryl, and I got to tell you, we just went through a snowstorm that had thunder and then became a blizzard. And I think on social media, I called it a snow thunderstorm blizzard of sorts. And we lived through it. And oh my goodness, did a lot happen this week. So Monday night, they were forecast to have, really great weather. Tuesday was even better. And then Tuesday night, it just decided to turn back to winter. And we woke up Wednesday morning, no power. And we went a couple days without power. And then finally power came back on. But in the meantime, it kind of disrupted my tutoring. And I wanted to talk to you about that and why everything kind of ended up being okay. Well, on top of all of that, then I also caught a really bad head cold. I'm going to say I had a flu bug, but I'm on the path to recovery. If you can hear it in my voice, I have been coughing and coughing and coughing. But it's been about a year since I've had a bad cold, so I guess that's okay. So back to this weather event. It was really something. I'm telling you, we had probably 1 to 2 inches of snow on the power lines. There were thousands of poles broken down, like I'm talking electricity poles that were just knocked over in the wind. We had 55 to 60 mile an hour winds that blew for 6 to 8 hours. And I mean, our power grid could not survive that. So, my husband and I were really lucky when we added an addition onto our old farmhouse. I was very adamant that we had to have a gas fireplace that we could light in the event that we didn't have power. And that really was a lifesaver. And I was also very adamant that we put in a gas stovetop. I have an electric oven, but the gas stovetop. And that's why we were very comfortable during it. I mean, I didn't shower for 4 days. That was a little uncomfortable, maybe a little too much information there, but that's what happens. We didn't have hot water. And my son, who lives very close to us, about 3 miles away, he didn't have power. And so he did eventually come over to spend the night because his house was at 47 degrees. He still doesn't have power. He might be back again tonight. We'll see. And it's just going to take a while to kind of overcome. But what did this storm remind me that I need to be ready for? I have to be ready for anything. And it was really interesting because a friend of mine texted me to check in, and he says, every time you guys have these storms, I think of you guys out in the country because I know how violent those storms can be, because we literally just have our little home here on our farmstead. And, we have some trees around us, but that's not going to protect you from everything. And, when the power goes out, the power does not come back on. And it is very dark, and it takes days for the power to come back on. And I thought, this is why I make sure that my tablet is pre-charged. I make sure that I have candles. I have candles that run on batteries. I have candles that run on flame. I've got extra bottled water. I've got snacks that are non-perishable. Like, we just kind of plan. I never allow my gas tank to really be on empty. I mean, sometimes I will do that in the summer, but in the wintertime, my gas tank always has gas in it. Just those things to be prepared, making sure that my dogs always have the food that they need, and my cat. I mean, if it would have been cold, like really cold, we would not have gone anywhere for several days. It was 2 days before we dug ourselves out because we had between 8 to 10 inches of snow. And yeah, it was something. But anyway, that's my Snowmageddon story. But it comes back to my tutoring. Okay, I said all of that stuff because you have to be prepared. And so I was prepared. I had my tablet. I met with the 2 kids that I was supposed to meet with because I had one that was on vacation. And it wasn't on my end that we were having problems. I didn't realize that until later because I did end up canceling their sessions. I didn't have any other way to talk them through the glitch that we were having. And it really came down to they couldn't follow my directions for what I needed them to do. And Grandma was there, and they just couldn't get past what I was asking them to do. And so then I practiced with my husband, and I said, okay, part my fault for not giving good directions, and, it just happened. So I typically tutor on my computer, and I have a Lenovo computer, and okay, my story with computers the last 3 years. I've gone through two Dells, and now a Lenovo. And this thing is a little workhorse. So that's working out great. So I had my tablet ready. I get into this meeting, can't share my screen the way that I want to do it. The kids can't figure out the workaround. We cancel. The next day, battery's still fine on the tablet. Get ready to meet with my next crew of kids, and everything went completely fine. And then I don't tutor on Fridays, and today is actually Saturday, so I didn't have any cancellations and all of that. But you just have to be prepared. And not only was I prepared with like my equipment, I was prepared with my lesson plan. And that's the other thing, knowing who you're meeting with, what time of the day, when you're meeting with them, and what you're teaching with them. Knowing that in advance is really important. So I always take the time at the first part of the week, usually Sunday night, and I sit down and I will write out my lesson plan for the whole week. And I'll say, Monday I meet with these kids at this time. Tuesday, ditto, all the way through Thursday. And then I look back to last week's notes, and if I don't have good enough notes on like my piece of paper, I will get into Tutorbird and see my very meticulous notes that I take, and then I move forward from there. Well, I had all that written down, so I knew exactly what I was doing with the kids. The problem came down to, with one of them, I totally just went to IXL because what we were working on in the computer was just going to be easier for me to use the computer than my tablet. But these are just, I've taught long enough online that I kind of know what the difference between teaching on a tablet and teaching on a computer. And hands down, using a computer works better. But why couldn't I use my computer? Didn't have Wi-Fi. What happened? Well, we were running a generator by this point. So it would be, on Thursday. We had our PTO generator hooked up to our tractor out in the barn. Don't worry, no livestock or anything out there. And so it was running, and yes, the door was open. But we couldn't get our Wi-Fi signal to work. So I go down and I check the little router box, and all these lights are flashing all over, and I'm like, that doesn't look good. And I'm trying to connect. I tell my husband, he can't get it to connect. He tries to restart it, nothing. I'm like, oh, we probably fried our Wi-Fi when we hooked the PTO thing up. So that's what we're both thinking. So then yesterday, which was Friday, we called Skywave because that is who we have our internet services with. Great little company in West Point, Nebraska. If you're in rural Nebraska, in my area, check them out. They came out, they climbed up on top of our roof, and during the storm, we heard something go crash, and we thought it was the tree limb on the outside of the house. And it wasn't. It was our satellite dish for our internet connection had actually broken. So they came out and they fixed it. And then I told them that I was having problems with Wi-Fi in my office. And they're like, oh, we're going to help you out. So they hooked us up with a new Wi-Fi router and then gave me an extender so I can get good Wi-Fi services in my office. And I'm telling you what, I have lightning speed Wi-Fi now. Unfortunately, we no longer have like the hook in. Like I was always, I had a cable that would just directly hook into my computer, and I don't have that option anymore. So I'm hoping that this is going to work. But we're going to find out. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to call them back and say, bring us a different one. Because, teaching online is my job. This is what I do. So it has to work. My other option would be to go downstairs and sit in my husband's, desk in the basement closer to the router, or come out in the living room or sit in our dining room closer to the booster, but I'm hoping that this is going to work. So good news, most of the snow is melted. We have high-speed internet, like zippity-doo-dah. All of my family's going to come out here and go, wow, you've never had such great service. And all of that because a blizzard hit Nebraska on the last day of winter. The next day was the first day of winter, and it was like nothing had happened. I was like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I want to thank you guys for hopping in, listening. I also want to thank Beverly for re-signing up for the Tech Hub for Tutors. She was one of my new people, I think back in like maybe January. She thought she would join, and she felt really overwhelmed by the amount of information. And then I think she kind of realized that, she can come to this other stuff, but I charge a little bit more for some of my extra meetings. And she's committed. She wants to learn how to tutor online. She wants to, break her code. She wants to figure this out, figure out what works for her and for her students. And I'm super excited to work with her. And in April, I'm hoping that she'll come to one of the live workshops. I'm running 2 of them, and okay, I still have flu brain here. Let's see. I'm going to be doing one on, YouTube and Google Meet. So those are coming up, the first part in April. And if you're interested in those, you can go to Tutoring with Sheryl. Yeah, tutoringwithsheryl.tutorbird.com /tech-coach-4-tutors and get signed up for those. You can also get signed up for the Tech Hub for Tutors membership and come to all of those things for free after you pay your yearly membership. So I'm really excited to work with Beverly and help her out. And Tara's been hanging out and learning some new things. And all of my other, kind of normal people are there too. Uh-oh, here comes the cough. So I got to wrap it up because the cough is back, and I'm pretty much done talking about it. But stay vigilant, stay prepared, share your message. And thanks for joining me. You guys make it a great day and keep the learning going.